As well as HTML and CSS, the remaining language recognized by a web browser is JavaScript. JavaScript is code that can be used to add interactive features to web pages without having to obtain information from the server. This is known as client-side code. This means that it runs on the computer of the person visiting your website, not on the web server that is hosting your website. Because JavaScript is client-side, you can never rely on it running. The visitor might have disabled JavaScript in their browser settings. The C# code you'll be learning later on in this course is server-side code and can't be directly interfered with by visitors to your site. Although you won't need to write any JavaScript in order to create basic ASP.NET websites, it is important that you can recognize it when you see it, as ASP.NET will automatically add JavaScript to a lot of pages. First, open the HTML test sample file from your sample files folder. Next, open scripttest.aspx in source view. As you can see, a link to scripttest.js has already been added to this page. In the same way as you can with CSS, you can add JavaScript directly to the page instead of having it in a separate JS file. Just like with CSS, however, it is best practice to keep your JavaScript code in separate files. To add some inline JavaScript code, we'll add a new line to the head section and add the following HTML. An opening script tag with type equals text/JavaScript, and inside the script tag the following JavaScript code: alert, hello. Design View isn't capable of executing JavaScript, so view the page in your browser. Your message pops up on the screen. The alert function is one of the most basic JavaScript functions. Close your browser and remove the inline JavaScript you added. You're now going to add JavaScript to the onClick event of a page element by using the onClick property. To do this, add the following property to the button div tag. onClick equals click message. View the page in your browser and click the button div. The message pops up just as it did before. Close your browser and open scripttest.js from the scripts folder. Here you can see the click message function that ran when you clicked the div. By adding the function's name to the div's onClick property, you made it run when the div was clicked. We're now going to use some more advanced JavaScript to change the color of the div when it is clicked. First, remove the existing alert line and then add the following JavaScript code: document.getElementById, begin brackets, begin inverted commas, button, end inverted commas, end brackets, dot set attribute, begin brackets, begin inverted commas, style, end inverted commas, comma, space, begin inverted commas, background hyphen color colon red semicolon, end inverted commas, end brackets, semicolon. This might seem like a very complicated piece of code, but if you break it down into its components, it's not so difficult to understand. Document.getElementById button tells JavaScript to search the page for an element with an ID of button. The blue div on the page has an ID of button, so it will be found. Set attribute style background color red tells JavaScript to set the style property of the tag to background color red. You used the style property in lesson 2.8. You've already set the div to run the click message function when it is clicked, so when the user clicks on the div, it should change color. View scripttest.aspx in your browser and click on the div. The color changes when it is clicked. Many of ASP.NET's special functions are accomplished using JavaScript, but you might never know this as it's all generated automatically behind the scenes. Although there's a lot more to know about JavaScript, the basic understanding provided by this lesson will enable you to complete and understand all of the lessons in this course. Close your browser and close Visual Studio. You've now completed Lesson 2.11, Work with JavaScript.